How's it going, everybody? It's Joe with Total Justice Gaming with a new deck profile for you. Today we're going to be looking at what I call SkyQuake. As we can see, it's Raider Skytread and Decepticon Quake with Grax as the head. So we will go into a quick rundown. Raider Skytread is a combiner. In his combiner form, he's a 6/18/3. That says, when this attacks, you may put a face-down card from this into your hand. If you do, move one damage counter from this onto the defender. So, right off the bat, your Skytread hits for big numbers, has decent defense, 18 health. Really like that. He heals himself when attacking and gives you additional draw power. Good bonus on that. His two parts, which we start off in the game with, which is Skytread Tank and Skytread Plane, in themselves are pretty decent. Tank is a 3/8/3 with ranged and tank traits that says Revenge. If your Sky Tank plane is on the battlefield or in your KO area, you may combine this and put him into Raider Skytread. If you do, put the cards from your hand face down under Skytread. So, Plane is also a 4/10 with the same ability, only it's looking for Skytread Tank. So the goal with these guys, of course, is to get them combined, like any two bot combiner. The reason why we're running Quake with this is because Quake can benefit from the Revenge, because when the Revenge triggers, one of them KOs, then Quake's ability triggers and does 1 damage to everybody on the field. Yes, that does mean technically Skytread will take a point of damage from Quake when combining, or Tank or Plane will still be on the field prior to combining, depending on when you want to trigger Revenge versus the KO effect, because they trigger at the same time. Grax is on Quake because he is a plus 5 health, making him a 13 health, which in alt mode, he's a tank and ranged. He's a 4/8/3. It says when he's the only character on the battlefield, he gets +2 attack. And in bot mode, he's a 5/8/2. It says when this or another character is KO'd, do 1 damage to each other character. So, every time we kill a character, Quake goes off. When we kill Skytread, Tank, or Plane, Revenge goes off, or Quake goes off, and then Revenge. It just depends on how you want to do it. They kind of work in tandem. You do get to pick because they're simultaneous triggers. Making Quake a 13 health is very, very key to this because we need Quake to stick around as long as possible. We're essentially going from a, I guess, 4-wide, counting the Headmaster, down to a 3-wide in this deck. The other thing I built this deck around was a lot of my early videos, if you guys have been around, were discard tanks. This deck is no different. This is a discard tank, orange tank deck. It doesn't have a lot of the tricks normal tank decks do. This is an entirely different sort of beast. We are still building around the mechanic of heavy discard, leaving your opponent with very few to almost no options. We are also going to be putting in some stuff to make Sky Tank, either plane or tank, go away as quickly as possible with some self-damage mechanics. While keeping in the Pierce, heavy attacks, some decent defense. Not the best defense like the actual tank decks, but this is more of an aggressive tank that just goes boom, kind of a glass cannon scenario. Then we combine. Then we keep on shooting out more and more while healing, with some limited healing. We do have enough room because this is only a 22-star deck, so we are going to be running Villainous Spotlight to give us +2 stars of orange pip cards. And we'll get into what those orange pip cards are in a moment. So moving into the battle cards. As I just said, we're running a copy of Villainous Spotlight as our stratagem. Zoom in here real quick. So as I said, since we're all Decepticons, we can run Villainous Spotlight. That's going to give us 2 free stars. Well, 2 extra stars, really, of Orange Pips. So first off in this deck, we're going to be running 3 copies of Piercing Blaster. This just gives us Pierce 3. It's 3 of our 6 whites in the deck. It lets Quake hit for almost full damage in tank mode or in bot mode. It lets Skytread tank hit for full damage with 3 Pierce 3, and Skytread tank being a 4 Pierce 3. We're running 3 copies of Grenade Launcher. I really don't need to say too much about that. Grenade Launchers, of course, are Orange Pip plus 4 and pitches itself at the end of turn. Then we're going to be running 2 copies of Fusion Borer, which is kind of a hybridization of both Grenade Launcher and Piercing Blaster, because it gives Pierce 3, it gives plus 3 attack, but it also scraps itself at the end of turn. So we get to hit for decent numbers, get some decent Pierce in, and then pitch it just like we would a Grenade Launcher. We are running 3 copies of Erratic Energy Grenade. We can attach this to either Skytread Tank or Skytread Plane to speed up their death in order to get do the revenge mechanic, and then thus triggering not only the plus 2 damage across the board to each enemy, but also Quake will trigger off the KO, and then we can shoot everybody for 3 damage. So we're running 3 copies of this to make sure we get it in hand. We're also running 2 copies of Enhanced Power Cell. I will speak a little bit of the sideboard. I'm still trying to figure it out. We're running 2 copies of this. We can put that on Quake, or we can put that on either Tank or Plane. Honestly, I want to try and stick it on Tank because of the 3 defense. He's not going to be going anywhere as quicker as Plane is, because Plane's a 0 defense. Alternatively, we can take this out in the sideboard and run, not reinforced plating, what's it called? Armament, not armor, no, reinforced plating. No, not reinforced plating. The Black Pip armor that gives plus 2. Anyways, let me get the name because that's going to be really bad. Sorry guys, it's a little late. Increased durability. I am so sorry for that delay. So alternatively, we can run 2 copies of increased durability instead of enhanced power cell. They both roughly give you the same thing. This takes up a utility slot. Increased durability gives us plus 4, meaning we would be a 12 health if we equip it to Skytread, or we can get some super big health and be a, math is hard, 17 health Quake. That's not too bad. So, we're going to be running 2 of these. Alternatively, in the sideboard, we can also run increased durability. To go along with the discard theme, we will be running 3 copies of Rapid Descent. All of our characters are ranged. We can put in, the opponent chooses a card and scraps it. It also gives us plus 1 defense, meaning Quake can go up to a 4 or a 3, and Skytread Tank can go up to a 4 defense, natural defense. That's very, very handy, especially in this game that's so Pierce heavy. Not that high armor defense is going to stop Pierce, but in the case that they don't hit Pierce and they're just doing raw attack damage, that's going to mitigate quite a bit of it. Running 3 copies of the Decepticon version of Improvised Shield. I love that I can run Decepticon and Autobot versions of this card now. I love the artwork on this. I really, really do like the artwork on this. We're not going to be using it for the tough one. This is there for the double orange. For star cards, I'm talking about this now. Even the score. I know a lot of people are going to be telling me rocket boosters or something else. I don't own rocket boosters. I do own even the score. And why I think this may be a little bit better in this deck, because we are running around with a revenge deck. So, and we are doing some self-damage stuff in this deck too. So the more easier it is for them to kill us, when the kill shot comes, if we have this out, we can put some real damage on the opposing character when plane or tank goes, and all that excess damage is going to go right back onto the opponent as revenge. And as revenge happens, Quake triggers, just a whole lot of damage will go off at once. So that's why I chose this as my star cards, plus it's a double orange pip. So running 5 double orange pips in this deck. So we are potentially going to be putting the hurt on somebody, but I know there are better star cards that are double orange pips. I just don't own them, and I do see this as a beneficial card to the deck, as we are trying to kill our own people to get revenge to happen. And should they get a huge, huge swing out on us, and this is set, we can benefit by triggering multiple effects at once and getting big damage out on somebody. We are running 2 copies of Disruptive Entrance. This sticks with our discard theme. This is our only 2 blue pips in the deck. I try to minimize it as much as possible. We get, just for playing this, we get to see what's in the opponent's hand, which is very beneficial. And we get to scrap an action from it. Even if we fizzle on the action part, we still get to know what the opponent has in their hand, and that kind of knowledge is just crucial to a game like this, because we can see what what they got in hand, what they could be equipping, and try to plan around that the best we can. Running 2 copies of Concealing Contrails. This is one of my new favorite cards from the set 5. Lets us boost our defense for +1 for each black pip we flip. This also becomes a double black pip if it's flipped with Skytread plane. We're running 3 copies of 2-pronged attack. If you guys remember the old ones, this is still one of my favorite cards in the game, period. In this deck, we get to utilize both abilities to their fullest extent. We have a tank to make the opponent discard 2. We have a plane that makes the opponent choose one of their characters and do 2 damage to it. Unlike what's going on right now, where we're moving damage counters around or healing or whatnot, this is just a straight, raw 2 damage to an opponent. Yes, the opponent still get to choose, which kind of sucks, but we are 2 tanks to 1 plane, so we are still going to be trying to shoot the opponent's hand rather than the opponent's bot, and limit their options to almost nothing. Running 3 copies of CAMIEN Crash. As I said before, we are trying to get revenge to happen. This is going to let us happen a little bit quicker and do 2 damage to the opponent. I would target plane with this. We can target tank with this too. I just prefer getting plane out of the way, because the plane has 0 defense, so it's going to be taking the biggest hits possible. And again, this can work in tandem. Well, maybe not in tandem. No, it doesn't work in tandem. That combo doesn't work. But anyways, we can still get out some decent damage. We can ping point for 1, do the opponent 2 damage, and then swing with the plane for some decent damage, additional damage. Fight for position. We're running 3 copies of that. It's Bolt 2. It's a orange-black. It's just a straightforward card. We're running 3 copies of Wedge Formation. Wedge Formation lets us draw a card. We don't really have anybody that is melee except for Grax. Yeah, even all the characters are ranged save for Grax. So we get to draw a card, and Grax can repair damage from himself before he dies. I mean, Grax potentially can last longer. He's 5 health, but I don't expect it going on that long. Now for the final one of the deck, we're running 3 copies of Head-On Collision, which gives us a Rod plus 3 damage pump to our characters while attacking in alt mode. Almost the entire deck is alt mode based. Quake is the only one that's going to be sitting in robot mode until he becomes the only character on the battlefield. In which that case, then he becomes a 6, then he becomes a 9 attack before flips. Other than that, this just gives Skytread tank plus 3, making him a 6 attack, and Skytread playing a 7 attack before he swings. Both are very decent statted numbers. After that, this kind of really doesn't do much for you until Skytread tank is on, until Quake is on his own in alt mode. But until then, this still has decent value as a solid plus 3 damage pump because, like I said, the majority of the deck is sticking in alt mode. So I did talk about a little bit about what we could do in terms of a sideboard. If you want to make a sideboard out of this, I can recommend removing the damage pumps, or not damage pumps, the discard, and turning this into another version of a dot deck. Put in Precision Fire, Dysfunction Ray, just more stuff to pile on free damage. I just really am more accustomed to tanks that discard and then just shoot for the hills because they have no defense, nothing that could really benefit the opponent. I've had a pretty good track record with discard tanks in the past. I don't see this as any different. Is this meta breaking? Absolutely not. This is definitely a fun deck to take to locals and get in some decent games with. This can't, because discard is still not widely used in the game at the moment, especially in the current meta that we're in. It is mildly aggressive, not as aggressive as it can be, but this is kind of a control aggro deck because we're messing with the opponent's hand while still hitting for some pretty decent numbers. Health values are pretty high at 18 and... Well, I can just leave the health value right there off the set. And our health value is 31. Not counting any additional outside stuff. Again, we can swap out some cards. You can swap out most of this card for damage counter movement. You can swap out Enhanced Power Cell with that one card I talked about earlier. Increased durability. We are looking at 25 oranges, 2 blues, 6 whites, 3 greens, and 20 blacks. 19 upgrades and 21 actions. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. I want to hear thoughts. I'll be working on more stuff as the week goes on. I'm trying my hand at a Daring Escape deck, which will be my first Daring Escape deck. Now I'm a little late to that party. But we got some other decks in the works. I got a White Autobot deck and a new version of Spinister with Skywarp and Aimless. I'm trying that out to see how fun that is. And we got a bunch of fun stuff coming down the pipelines. Unfortunately, due to COVID, I still can't get to a store, so we still can't get deck match videos. I don't really live close to my play group. They're about an hour out from me, and work is work. So, guys, thanks for sticking with me. Again, hit the comments. I really want to talk to people. I need the social interaction to keep sane. Until then, all hail Megatron.